In this lesson, I'm going to discuss both direct and indirect objects in a sentence. My sentence that I'm going to use is, he wrote her a poem. So let's start with the basics. Step one is to identify the subject and verb. So you will underline the subject once and the verb twice, and draw your line to separate them. So the only thing we're going to have on the subject side is he, and what he did was he wrote. Then you ask yourself, what did he write? And whatever answers that is your direct object, whether it's one word or a phrase. So obviously in this case he wrote poem. So you're going to put direct object above that. Right, so it's going to be a noun, but it's not the subject because he was the subject. So he wrote a poem. Then to find the indirect object, you ask yourself, to whom or for whom. So he obviously, in this case, wrote the poem for her. So her becomes our indirect object. Now I'm going to show you where the indirect and the direct object go when you're diagramming your sentence. So we have here the subject and verb, he wrote. Then we ask ourselves, what did he write? And the answer to that was a poem. So what you do is you draw a straight line without crossing over the other line. And then you're going to put the word that answers the direct object, that answers what he wrote, which in this case, now you just need to add the article a, which would go underneath poem, and you need to add the indirect object. The indirect object is going to go under the verb portion of it, and the line is going to be slightly different than the straight angle that we've been using. So the angle would be more like this. It's supposed to be straight. And then you would have the word her on that line. So there we have the basic setup for a simple sentence with a direct object and an indirect object. If we go back to the main sentence, that was, he wrote her a poem. He wrote, what did he write? Poem. That is how you get to the direct object, is you ask yourself what. To whom or for whom? Whatever answers that is your indirect object, and in this case, it's her. Then to diagram it, you draw a straight line after the verb and put the direct object with any articles or adjectives below it. And then the indirect object is below the verb, but on a different angled line.